All right. Hey guys, welcome in. Making sure I'm live here. Okay. Hey family, good to see you this Monday morning. Glad to have you a part of this as we normally do with these lives. If you could, I'm kind of keeping my eye on the chat. Good morning, everybody. Miss Janice, Miss Kimberly, God bless you guys. Great to see my family. Can you do me a favor and just drop in the chat if you can hear me okay? Want to make sure that the audio's coming through. Maybe throw up some prayer hands emojis or some hands up, or maybe just make a statement. Let us know what you're expecting this week, what you're building towards this week, what you're excited about this week. Just let me know if you can hear me okay in the chat. Good to see everybody. I'm getting some indications that the audio is coming through. Get everything ready. So excited to have you on here for what we've been calling Mandate Monday. Bless you guys. Good to see everybody on here. Give you a few minutes to get live with us and to make sure that you're ready for what we're going to share today. Really, our intention is to take Mondays, carve out a time, set apart a moment to release instruction, prophetic instruction, guidance, and directives that stir, anchor, establish us for the impact we're going to have for the kingdom in the days of this week. So we're setting the tone early to establish our paradigm, to set our mind on things above, to set our hearts on the things of the kingdom. All the time, the scripture tells us that we have to set our minds. That's where we get the term mindset, right? We have to set our mind. Our mind will go where we set it. Our feelings will go where we let them. Our mind will go where we set it, and our feelings will go where we let it. So we have to set our mind on things above, set our affection on things above, make an internal conscious decision to put our mind on Christ and things that pertain to the kingdom. And what better time to do it than the beginning part of your week? Whatever we make a priority becomes the principal thing that sets the stage for a lot of times the path and the progress that we'll take. So we take 30 to 40 minutes every Monday and we gear you up, we equip you, we get you what you need to establish your impact this week. So without further ado, I want to get into this content and I want to deal with developing your gifts. Developing your gifts. Every single one of us has a gift set. We have gifts that determine our divine genius, and our divine genius that determines our divine greatness. That God has put gifts on the inside of us. He's given you abilities, talents, capacities, and it is on the giver to give and the steward to build. So he has given it. Every good and perfect gift comes down from the Father of lights. It comes from above. Every good gift you have and I have comes from the Father. He's a father and he's a good father and he's the father of a kingdom. And he gives us good gifts. Breath is a gift. The ability to blink your eyes is a gift. Days are a gift. Waking up with life is a gift. Capacity to move mobily is a gift. To operate is a gift. Even those, he says, that are unthankful, he gives gifts to. He gives the unthankful the gift of breath. Even though he says, let everything that has breath praise him, not everybody who has the gift of breath, inhale and exhale, gives him praise. But he's such a good father, he gives us the gifts anyway. It teaches us a lot about his character, that God will give them to us regardless of what we do with the gift he gave us. And the truth is that we're going to be held in account for what we did with what he gave us. And each one of us has to develop our gifts. The interesting thing about gifts, talents, and innate abilities is many times we get more enamored by somebody else's than we do honoring our own. We forget what it is that we carry. But let me put this in context for us. There's a parable he teaches in Luke and he says essentially, occupy until I come. He says, do business until I come. In Luke, he says, there's a certain nobleman who goes to receive a kingdom, and he intends to return with the full expression of the kingdom into the place that he exited from. And he says, the citizens came after him in the place that he left, sending a delegation saying, we don't want this man to rule over us. And he said, but I'm going to give you treasure, and I want you to do business, occupy till I come. That means to seize, to trade, to busy yourself with the talent you've been entrusted until I return. See, he's a king who says, I'm returning with the full manifestation of my kingdom. And in my absence, I'm giving you treasure. Why? To occupy in my absence, to represent in my stead. I'm going to give you the talent you need to fulfill the instruction I gave you. I'm giving you the talent to occupy until I come. Seize it, expand it, extend it, increase it. Trade, busy yourself with what I gave you until I return. And when I return, he said, I'm gonna ask you what you did with what I put in your care. This is part of fundamentally living with a fear of the Lord, and that fear is an honor of the King and his kingdom. We honor him to such a degree. We have a healthy godly awe, a healthy godly reverence for what he has called us to do and the gifts that he's trusted us with. So our reverence for him makes us inventory what we've received from him and want to maximize it to bring glory to him, to extend it on his behalf. It's a powerful revelation that he exited and left a people in charge in his stead. He said, occupy until I come. In other words, operate as I would until I show up and validate it. Operate as I would till I return with the full demonstration of the kingdom I told you is mine. I'm going to entrust you. I am empowering you. I am enabling you to represent me with the talents I've entrusted you. So then our responsibility to represent well is tied to the ability and the talent he entrusted us to steward. So do business till I come. Go into the market, find your position, and impact people until I show up. This is why he said that this is typically what I say is that do business until I come. Well, the best business to do is the Father's business for you. He said, I must be about the Father's business. He said, it's my meat to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. He says, so occupy is to lay claim to, steward, protect, and grow. Lay claim to, steward, protect, and grow. Lay claim to what I said. Lay claim to what is yours. Lay claim to the space I've given you in this world. Steward it for me, protect it, and grow it. So the powerful thing about this parable that he teaches is that the citizens of the previous place sent a delegation saying to him, we don't want you to reign over us. Knowing they would be in hostile context did not change the instruction the Lord gave them. Knowing that they would have to occupy in an environment that didn't want him to reign, did not change him from saying, represent me well, do business, transact, get in the market and act with the treasure I gave you until I came. He knew you would be in a context around people who say, we don't want him to reign over us. We don't want him to come back and establish his kingdom. Knowing that you would be around forces of resistance didn't stop him from saying, occupy. So no matter what is resisting you, he told you, I gave you what you need to overcome what you face. In a hostile environment, when not everybody we're around impact or serve wants him to reign, the king still said, I trust you to occupy until I come. If you're going to set your disposition to occupy, to seize it, to claim it, to extend into it, to possess it, to claim it for the sake of the kingdom and exercise his authority in it, to steward it, protect it, and grow it, can you just type in here, I'm going to occupy, I'm going to occupy, or just occupy? He said, occupy it, claim it. Why? In the absence of our occupation, something else will occupy it. In the absence of integrity's occupation, wickedness will occupy it. In the absence of godly authority occupying it, some wicked authority will occupy it. The truth of the matter is, no void goes unfilled. This is why I always say we are, as kingdom people of impact and influence, as people about kingdom business prophetically, to lay charge to the vision that God gave us. Those who are extending the rule of the integrity and the nature of Christ in the earth. The truth of the matter, I always say, is reign in the void. Because if we won't, something else will. Every gap will eventually be filled by something. This is where in the Old Testament, the example he gives us is when he takes them into their promised land. He says, you're going to dispossess what is there so you can repossess what is mine and actually possess what I said is yours. So that means that there are current tenants, forces of resistance in the place that you're called to occupy, and it's going to stay there until you forcefully advance until he comes. So you do this with the character of the Father, the love of the Father, and the willingness to grow our talents, our skills, our capacities, our ability, our knowledge of things pertaining to the kingdom. Until he returns, we occupy. So if you haven't yet, come on, just somebody say occupy. Knowing you would be in the midst of a place that is resistant to his reign. He said the citizens of this place resisting his reign sent a delegation saying, we don't want you to be our leader. He said, I'm still empowering you to occupy. I say this and I mean this, that if he instructed you to do it, he empowered you to do it. Quality leadership never instructs where it doesn't empower. If they're asking you to do it, they're giving you the power to do it. If he asked you to do what you didn't have the ability to do, he'd be setting you up to fail. The fact that the good Father, the Lord God, asked you to do it or instructed you to do it means he empowered you to do it. And sometimes you have to realize if he required it or asked it of me, if he's putting a demand on it in me, there's something he gave me to do what it is he asked me to get done. He gave them what they needed to fulfill the instruction he provided. So now our obedience is a faith act. I know he gave it to me. Let me extend it. So we're citizens of a kingdom. And he says, I have a bed or a body. I have a people or a company in which I've given the talent to represent me well and occupy until I come. He says, I'm leaving. You're going to steward the planet and the kingdom in my stead. And I'm giving you treasure to express me through. Okay? I've wrapped my treasure inside of your talent or inside of your person. I've put my potential inside of your person. I've put my treasure inside of your field. I've filled you with what you need to fulfill the things of the kingdom of God. So as we occupy, as citizens of the kingdom, we preach the gospel. We share our faith. We demonstrate the kingdom. We live with principles. We operate with integrity. We function like our word means something. We have character. We're growing in the things that pertain to this life. But we also represent him in the way that we operate wherever it is he's called us to operate. 1 Thessalonians chapter number 4, the second part of verse 10 through verse 12 says that we urge you, family, that you increase more and more. That you increase what? In the love of God, in brotherly love, and in all things that pertain to what he's called you to do. We urge you. We instruct you. We want you to have this disposition about you. Remember, to be led by the Spirit, the word Spirit in the Greek is pneuma, which is the Spirit's mental disposition. So to be led by the Spirit is to be operating in his mental disposition, taking up his perception in life, taking up his outlook on your circumstances, taking up the way he sees what you're dealing with, who you are, who you're impacting, where you're going, taking up his disposition. So he says, I urge you to have the mind to increase more and more. Increase more and more means expand further and further into the gifts, into the genius, into the greatness that he put on the inside of you, not for your glory or my glory, but for his glory. Increase more and more. Verse 11, that you aspire. This is your aspiration. that you aspire to live rather a quiet life, that you aspire to lead a quiet life. He said that you aspire to lead a life without outer contention, a life that is not constantly combative, a life that is not always filled with chaos. That's what he means by quiet there. Not that you don't use your voice, but a life that speaks on your behalf. So we preach the gospel. We share our faith. We extend our love, but we also lead and aspire to lead whatever it is in a way that our life speaks for us and our life speaks for Him. Live a life that can speak. Live a life that can declare, that you increase more and more, and you have the aspiration to lead yourself, your family, your vocation, what He's called you to do. Lead it. Take leadership in it. Remember, earth will model the state of its governors. Your life will model the state of its leaders. You're the leader. The life will model the state that you're in. So he said, aspire to live this life. Mind your own business. Set your mind on this same thing that he said in Luke. Occupy until I come. Do business until I come. The same thing he says early in his young life. I must be about the Father's business. Set your mind on what he said to occupy. Set your mind on your own business, vocation, assignment, purpose, and destiny, and work with your own hands. Take responsibility to maximize what he's told you to steward as we commanded you. And then verse 12, that you may walk properly towards those who are outside and that you may lack nothing. I love this. He's giving us the blueprint for lacking nothing and living properly when people look at our life. Jesus said, you are the light of the world. Light is not lit to be hidden. So you're not lit to be hidden under a basket. You're not lit to not be seen. You're not lit to not be valuable. You're lit to be valuable and to be visible to those you're supposed to be impacting. You're the light of the world. Shine, live in a way that people see you occupy and reflect the glory of God in everything that you do. So it says the Lord was with Joseph and he was a successful man. So you're occupying, extending, expanding, increasing, busying yourself with the talent you've been entrusted. So we've got to redefine success and not have our minds conform to what the world says success is. Success in the kingdom is being who you called you to be, living why he called you to live, doing what he called you to do, and possessing what he called you to possess. It's not about the stuff. It's not about the status. It's not about the things. We seek first the kingdom, and all these other things are added to us. It's about being who you're called to be, living why you're called to live, doing what you're called to do, unleashing what you have in you to unleash, the potential God put in you to release, and having what God said is yours. So it's not determined by what they do, it's determined by what I do. So many times we talk about the responsibility to share, to preach, to communicate, to witness in those matters, but you also witness in the kingdom with how you occupy until he comes, aspiring to step into greater leadership in my life in a way that I'm living in a way that speaks to kingdom principles, integrity, and in character. Now, that means then that what he's given me, I have to decide I'm going to develop it. I'm going to take it to the next level. He's always calling us from glory to glory, from measure to measure, from this level to the next level, to steward it to his glory so we can lay it at his feet. So the results of my life are at the feet of my activity. It's not what they do, it's what I do. There's a space in your life where we take responsibility to develop the talent God gave us, the gifts God gave us, to have the impact he called us to do what it is he said I'm supposed to do. So my success is determined by my daily routines around my divine deposits. My success is determined by my daily routines around my divine deposits. How well am I stewarding the instruction that he gave me? So let's talk about a few things on developing your talent. So he gave them talents. He gave them treasure, departed, and said, when I come back, here's what I'm going to ask you. He said, to some he gave two in the other parable, to some he gave two, to some he gave 5, he gave differing measures of talent and came back and said, what did you do with what I gave you? So he's not measuring the talent by how much he gave you versus how much he gave them. He's measuring the talent by what I did with what he actually gave me. So he's not measuring me against them, he's measuring me against me. So I've got to make up in my mind every day, I'm going to take what he gave me and get it a little better. If I turn 1 degree a day at the end of the year, I'll have a full turnaround. I'm going to do a little bit every day, little iterations to grow what he gave me. He said, we all have gifts differing in Romans chapter 12, but whatever you have, let him use it. So he didn't give me a gift. He didn't light my lamp. He didn't fill my spirit with value for me to not use it or abuse it or neglect it or distract it. He gave it to me to increase it, to serve people with it. So let's talk about ways that you can develop your gift. Number one, you've got to use it. You wouldn't imagine how many people are afraid to use the gifts God gave them. This is one of the reasons why Paul told Timothy, God hasn't given you the spirit of fear. So this spirit of fear is crippling your capacity to operate in your gifts. He hasn't given you the spirit of fear. So the first thing, my foundationally, for my ability to deal with what is stopping me is I have to recognize what is and is not from him, what he did and did not give me. So not only do I have to recognize the gifts he gave me, I have to recognize if the thing stopping me from using it is from him or not from him. Because if I think it's godly to not operate in it or godly to be so concerned I never function in it, I won't battle that because I think it's him that sent it to me. So he says you have to first know it's a spirit of fear and God didn't give it to you. So you have to break the spirit of fear that's keeping you from stepping into the gift that God gave you. People are afraid of being rejected. People are afraid of looking silly. People are afraid of failing. People are afraid it won't be good enough, which is really a fear that you won't be accepted once you show what you have in you. So it's a fear what people will think. It's a fear of looking silly. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear that I won't be good enough at it and they'll judge me for it. It's a fear that I'll be rejected when I display it or won't be accepted when I actually use it. But God has not given you the spirit causing that fear. There is something else behind trying to keep you afraid. So you've got to make the decision that I'm not going to live beholden to the spirit of fear that God didn't give me. That is a tactic of an adversary trying to keep you in a state where you don't operate in the gift that God gave you. Now, I'm not saying here that you go into every context and take it over. I'm not saying that you get unruly or without principle. I'm not saying that you break every protocol of every social environment or church environment or marketplace environment that you go to. I'm saying that you know what you have and you develop it into extraordinary value and you're not afraid to use it to glorify him in whatever space he's anointed you to occupy. So break that spirit of fear. We declare that it would loose you and let you go, that it would leave from taking over your state, making you nervous and anxious and afraid, to recognize and develop the gift, the treasure, the talent that he put on the inside of you. You have to break that fear and decide I'm going to use it. Come on, somebody say, I'm going to use the gift he put in me, whatever that gift is. I'm going to use those gifts. I'm going to use those talents. I'm going to utilize those treasures. 2, work it. Work it. Not only use it, work it. Train them. Work them. Put them in the crucible of development pressure, meaning use it enough to develop it, learn about it, study it, train it, look at it, evaluate it, use it. Put it in real life situations. Have a chance to operate in that gift amongst your family, amongst your friends. Another way you can do it is you can study about the gifts He's given you. Inventory what they are, and then study them. Find out what Scripture says about them. Pray and ask God to give you revelation regarding them. Go and find some kind of material that is integrous regarding whatever those abilities are or skills are, and begin to grow it. And this is the next part of it. Develop skills around it. So I'll give you an example. Some of you may know this testimony. Some of you may not know much of my story, but give you a little preview if you didn't. I was so terrified to speak in front of people. And when I say in front of people, I wasn't like completely shy, but I was afraid to speak in front of like a group of 5 or more people. Now, when I'm around friends or something, of course, back then you could connect and have your conversation. But even then, if it was like a group of people that laid silent and I had to speak and they were listening solely at me, I was just afraid of it. I'm not the only one, of course. They say it's a fear greater than death is public speaking. So anyway, when I was playing basketball, I was at a point where I was really just done with it, at a spot of depression and about to go to college. And I went in and I talked with my counselor. And because I didn't care for school much, all I wanted to do was hoop. A different guy back then, of course. And all I wanted to do was hoop. I didn't even pay attention to the deadlines to actually like pick my classes. So when I went into the counselor in the office in order to say, I want to arrange my classes, I was well past the deadline. And we had already been hooping and practicing, and they were starting to kind of ramp up the training before everything started officially. And so I went into the office and they had locked in a schedule for me by default, since I didn't pay attention enough to lock in my classes, my class schedule. So I found out in the first semester, right away, they had me taking public speaking. And I said, no, I can't do this. At least you're going to have to push this back, because I'm not doing a public speaking class that they're going to require me to get in front of everybody and speak. And so they couldn't move it because I was too late. So they couldn't shift my class around. So I literally that day went into the gym, told the coach, I'm out, left college, and never came back. I was so afraid of the idea of having to do a public speaking class and talking in front of people that I gave up any hope I had of playing basketball, walked out, and never came back. Now, I was in a bad place, and that led me to my ultimate experience that led me to my salvation and receiving the gift of salvation from Christ. But I was so terrified of speaking in front of people that I actually absolutely walked out and gave everything up for it. Now, fast forward a little bit, later that year, I give my heart to the Lord. When I'm in, I'm all the way in. I came after Him, began to show me. He called me to preach and to teach. He completely destroyed the fear that crippled me only moments prior. But what I began to do is spend all this time developing skill around this gift. Are you hearing me? That He gave me that I was terrified to use. So if you would have asked me if I had this gift before I came to the kingdom, before I came to Christ, I would have said, no way. That's the furthest thing from a talent, from a gift or an ability that I have, is speaking in front of people. No way at all. Communication, period, isn't close to a gift that God's given me. But the reality is the adversary saw it in me before I even saw it in me, and did everything he could to bury it under such fear that I never even realized I had it in me. So I had to break that spirit of fear, decide I'm going to use it everywhere that I go, start talking to people, start talking to strangers. I didn't start on stages. I started talking to people in bookstores and talking to people at work and meeting new people and communicating with. I started there. Then I started to say, well, what books can I get about this? And what skills can I develop around this? Because skills become the infrastructure that strengthens the gift that you have. So not even just the core gift, it's the skills you can develop, musculature around that gift, that give that gift a platform and an ability to go to the next level. So use them, work them, train them, study about them, Destroy the fear regarding that shrouds them. Next, find someone you can learn from that is already good at them. And last thing I'll tell you is serve people for free with the gifts God gave you. Freely you have received, freely you will give. Yes, there is a place where you can use your gift in a marketing, use your gift in a vocation, use your gift in an occupation and expand your life and increase the level in which you live. Absolutely. But there also is a level at which you're just freely using what He gave you to be a blessing to the people around you. He said, I am the greatest among you like a servant. I'm washing feet. I'm using the towel. I'm pouring the water. I'm among you as he who serves. Never lose the heart of service. And one of the greatest ways to serve people is to encourage or add value to people with what God put on the inside of your spirit. You've got to develop your gifts. He already told you that I put these gifts in you. Stir it up. Stir it up. Stir up your passion. Stir up your zeal. Stir up your capacity and do specific things daily to get just a degree better at whatever He put on the inside of you. Make the decision today that I'm not going to die with potential untapped in my spirit. I'm not going to let the grave swallow the potential God gave me. I'm making a decision today that I'm going to get better and better and better at whatever it is the King trusted me to occupy with until He came. He gave you what you need. That gift is your genius. Turn it into more greatness. Not to your credit, to His credit. And sure, those things will come, but that's not what you live for. You live to advance the mission of the kingdom in whatever way He's uniquely gifted, anointed, and called you to advance it. So do me a favor in the chat. Can you just write, I'm growing my gifts. I'm developing my talents. I'm building my skills. I'm upgrading my ability so I can get what we call capacity to do more, sometimes with less. I want to be at the end of this quarter better at what I'm called to do than I was at the beginning of this quarter. I want to put in the intense effort. I'm of the mind that if I gave everything I had to this thing over here, how couldn't I do that and more to this thing in the kingdom? If I could give everything I had to that, I better give more, at least everything I have to the things of the kingdom. So develop them, honor them, grow them. If you don't honor what God gave you, you can't expect them to honor what God gave you. And even if they don't honor what He put in you, you still honor what He put in you because He gave you the honor to steward what He gave you. So steward it. Walk around like, man, He gave me something. He put treasure in this field. Don't just judge yourself by the field of your life. Honor the treasure in your life. So don't be so critical that all you see is the problem. Have the perception of the Spirit to recognize the value He gave you to offer to the world, to lead, to aspire to lead in a way that has a life that speaks to the transformation that the King brought to you. Set your mind on increasing your abilities, your gifts, your talents, and your skills so you can better occupy until He comes. Well, what happens when they don't like it? That's okay. What happens if they don't receive it? That's okay. What happens if they resist it? Remember, He already told you. The delegation around them said, we don't want Him to reign over us. But they made a decision. The King gave me a treasure and told me to occupy until He comes. So I want to challenge us all to find ways to develop what it is that He gave us so we can expand His kingdom in the way that He's called us to. All right? Talk to you guys soon. Develop those gifts. Let's increase, let's expand, and let's abound in the things He's called us to do. Talk to you soon.